Hello, everyone. Welcome to your weekly Ascension chat. I am Rachel Gargan. I'm an energy healer, new earth leader, and an Ascension guide. So I'm really excited to dive in today because there's some really big messages coming through as we come out of the 8-8 portal. So we're seeing obviously massive accelerations. I'm sure you guys are feeling all of the high vibrations that are coming in. And as we move through the rest of August, we're seeing a massive expansion energy that is really coming in. So I really wanted to take some time today as a little mini energy update, talk about some of the collective energies that are coming in and different ways that we can work with these frequencies. So make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Always check out the caption because we always have so many different things going on here. So really excited that you are here. So we're seeing some massive endings and some massive rebirths happening for so many people. We're seeing that like massive cycles are coming to a close. So they're showing me this like circle and it's finally reaching that convergence point where we're really starting to close a lot of timelines, a lot of things that maybe we've moved through, and it's like we keep doing this same loop over and over and over again. And we're really coming into that choice point. Every single time we close, it's like, am I going to do this loop again? Or am I going to choose something different? And they're really reminding us right now, like, you are the creator of your reality. You get to choose whether you have really learned the lessons and integrated this and you're ready to evolve into a new higher dimensional circle of a new experience, or if you want to continue to go back through this loop one more time, two more times, three more times. So take a look at what you're experiencing in your life right now. I know for me personally, right? I'm moving again. I'm currently packing up my house again. And if you've worked with me, you know that like this has been a theme in my life. And it's really come to a point where I'm like, okay, what is this showing me? What am I learning from this experience, right? And we really want to ask ourselves these types of questions. So they're showing me us getting out a pen and paper. And what is the loop where you're like, oh my goodness, I'm here again? Right? I always go in with the best intentions. We buy a new home, and then it's like a year and a half, 2 years later, it's like this cycle is done. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to go move again. And, and this next time I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to move. I don't want to feel unstable. I don't want to have to be traveling to different locations between multiple different countries and all these things. Like, I'm ready for that next stage of stability. And they're saying that this takes a lot of honesty. And again, many of you know I go on honesty riffs with myself, and I really had to go deep this week where I sat down and really went on a really true honesty riff with myself. I talked to myself out loud. I had like a 6-hour drive, right? And I'm just driving by myself and I'm talking to myself out loud. I'm speaking with my guides. I'm connecting in, and I'm like, okay, like show me why this continues to happen. I'm ready for the truth this time, right? And having the courage to actually see the truth of why you are continuing to go on this cycle. And this is so incredibly important because when we can get really truthful with ourselves and we drop the illusions, we drop our attachments, our wants, our needs, and we're like, just show me the truth. And honestly, I didn't really want to hear what came through. I really didn't. Right? I didn't want to hear that I've created this. I didn't want to hear that it was time for me to take responsibility for it. I didn't want to hear that like I might not necessarily get everything that I quote unquote want in this next stage that we're moving into. And then I had to take responsibility, grow a little bit, get uncomfortable a little bit, right? And, this has been a massive lesson for me in the last week. And as I've been working with a lot of my one on one clients, my mentorships, things like this, so many people are coming to this exact same moment, whether it's in their relationships, whether it's with money, whether it's with their housing, right? They're coming to this kind of closing point, this convergence point. And they've been really showing this to me that this is like a massive opportunity for us to really get clear on why we've been repeating these cycles in our lives. Why have we been repeating these cycles, right? What have we been holding on to that has continued to repeat this cycle? And I've had to let go of some things along the way. In this last week, I had to let go of this want that I've had, this vision that I've had, this like need that I've had that I've been so attached to. And in that, it also comes from, I can't do it on my own. I can't do this. I never make enough money for that. I da 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 da, all these different things. And remembering how capable we are of being able to actually create our reality, how capable we are of being able to, handle everything that's being shown to us, everything that we're experiencing, and taking radical responsibility for what we are creating in our life. And it's come to a point where I'm like, I'm ready to move on from this. I'm ready to expand into the next version of myself. So, Spirit, show me the most expansive decisions that I can make, the most expansive options that I can choose. And one of the exercises that I always do with myself is like we come to these choice points, and it's like we have, this option we can choose, this option we can choose, this option we can choose. So I always lay out all of the options that I have available to me, all of the choice points I have available to me. And I'm like, this is what I would have chose before. But is that going to take me on the same loop again? I also have this option and this option. So I sit with it and I feel into it. And even if I don't like the truth of exactly what it is that this option is laying out for me, which one feels the most expansive? Which one feels the lightest and the brightest, right? Which one feels like it calms my nervous system? Which one, feels like it's an evolving timeline? And choosing that timeline. And I also got really clear on what it was that I had been resisting. I'm like, nope, that's not even an option. I don't even want to look at it, right? And instead, I had this really real moment with myself where I sat down and I looked at that option. I'm like, why am I resisting this? And what if I allowed myself just to explore it for a moment and allow it to reveal to me if there's gifts inside of this option, if there is an expansion inside of this option that I'm not allowing myself to see, and really sitting with that option. And for me personally, of course, the one that I've been resisting the most is actually the one that very well is going to be best for me, the most expansive timeline for me, the most growth that is available to me. So they wanted me to share this because they want us to take a look at what are we resisting in our life, and then sit down with that resistance and talk to the resistance. A lot of the time when we're in fear, when we're in resistance, when we're in control, right? We shove these things aside because it's like it doesn't feel good to go sit in it. It doesn't feel good to look at it. So we're like, I shouldn't be afraid. That's a low vibrational thing. I shouldn't be in resistance, da 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 da, right? So we just kind of shove it aside and we continue to just move and make all of these decisions. But what if we actually were to sit inside of the resistance and speak to your resistance, speak to your shadow aspects, speak to your fear, and allow the fear of whatever that option is to speak to you? Why are you resistant to this, right? What does this fear have to teach you? Is this fear actually truth or is it an illusion? And let's get really, really clear on that and get really radically honest with ourselves so that we can begin to take a look at all aspects of ourselves. As we go through this ascension process, we're bringing everything back into unity within ourselves, including our lower dimensional parts of ourselves, our fear, our control, our manipulation, our self-sabotage. So I also see this as well within business and a lot of spiritual business owners, right? I really want to have a successful business. I know this is what I'm meant to do, but then they're like, I really want to have an online business, but they're not posting, they're not creating their programs, they're not taking the aligned action. So what if we sat down and instead of saying, I've just been saying to myself, I'm overwhelmed. I don't have time to do that. Everything in my reality isn't going right, right? I'm dealing with this in my relationship, so I'm just going to put my business on the back burner. But what if your business was the thing that could change everything and you're not even looking at it because you're actually resistance to the expansion of what is available to you when you start taking the aligned action inside of your business, right? What if that was the thing that was going to fix and help and support all of these issues over here that you're so absorbed in? And this is what really has been, shown to me. So when we sit down and we actually are like, okay, I've been saying that I want to do this and I'm not doing it. And I'm so busy over here in my day to day and all the drama that's going on in my life, right? Because we always are moving through certain things in our life. Why don't I sit down and actually say, okay, but why am I not doing it? Why am I not doing it? Why am I resistant to doing it? Why have I said, like, this is what I want, but I'm not taking the aligned action on it? Right? And get really honest with ourselves about that. I'm not doing it because I'm scared. I'm not doing it because I don't want the expansion. I'm not doing it because it feels uncomfortable. It's new to me. I'm not doing it because, I'm scared it's going to actually work. Okay, well, why? Why am I scared that it's going to actually work? Right? Well, but then you won't have the excuse of you struggling all the time and you've identified with that person who's always in lack and scarcity. So what happens if you weren't that person anymore? What happens if you weren't that? Right? That would be uncomfortable for me. Okay, so why is it uncomfortable for me? Right? Show me more, show me more. And this is the conversation that a lot of us need to have with our shadow. Show me more, unveil more, show me what I'm resisting, show me why I'm scared, show me why I won't allow myself to have this. And they're saying many of us here who are listening to this, right? You had the ability to communicate with spirit. So you can sit down and you can get really honest just with a conversation with spirit. You can get really honest with a conversation with God. You can get really honest with a conversation where you maybe write out like, I'm scared of this and this is the reason why, and I think I'm not good enough and da 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 da, and write it down. Because then when we can begin to gain clarity, it's like I can see it. I can see that this is actually where I want to be putting my energy and attention right now. Even though it's uncomfortable, even though I'm scared, I need to continue to move down this timeline. I need to continue to move forward with what I know is the truth. So this is a massive convergence point for many of us where we're actually harmonizing all of the different parts of ourselves. We're actually harmonizing and bringing back parts of ourselves that we have rejected. We don't like looking at the part of ourselves that has been judging ourselves. We don't like to look at the part of ourselves that has been maybe judging our partner. We don't like looking at the part of ourselves that's scared, right? Or that's comfortable. But the more we can get radically honest with ourselves and lean into these parts of ourselves and bring these parts back, the better. And another thing that they're bringing up as well is that many of us are leaning into our divine feminine. And it doesn't matter whether you're a male or a female, we all have a divine feminine and a divine masculine. So we're starting to lean into our intuition. Your intuition's telling you that you're going to have a very successful online business. Your intuition's telling you that it's time for you to, right, for me personally, to move to a different country. But I'm so in resistance to it, right? Because my masculine is linearizing everything and thinking about everything and putting everything into little boxes. But my intuition, my inner knowing, is pulling me in a different direction. So a lot of the time, our masculine is actually judging our feminine. And when we can bring these two back together and say, like, okay, what if I stop judging myself? And what if I started to actually follow what I know is best for me? What would really happen? And we can have this is like an energy hack that I use, is like, emotions, divine feminine, intuition, educate my mind on the truth, educate my masculine on the truth of what actually will happen if I follow my intuition right now. Because many people who work with me know that our mind is the part of us where lower vibrational beings can come into, where the matrix can influence us. So we can get into our mind sometimes, but this is also where that matrix enters into our multidimensional system. And if we're allowing ourselves to have action on discordant frequencies, it's going to slow down the manifestation that you're actually desiring to see in your life. It's going to slow down the evolution. It's going to slow down, right, the growth that you actually know is available to you. So when we can get our mind and our mental body on board with our intuition, it can make a massive difference. So this is something that I am doing over and over and over again, is bringing my divine feminine, divine masculine back together. Bringing my mind and my emotions back together. Bringing my mind and my intuition back together. So that they're not separate from each other anymore. So that I don't have this internal turmoil and conflict within my being. And then the frustration starts. If you've been feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, it's very well because these two parts of yourself are operating in two different dimensions, right? Your intuition and your emotions wants to evolve, wants to expand, knows what's best for you. And then your mind is in conflict with it and it's constantly judging it. And then we have this internal conflict within ourselves. So it's causing us to feel overwhelmed. It's causing us to feel like a hair trigger, right? Where it's just like, I'm going to blow up, right? So when we can begin to bring these parts of ourselves back together, you're going to see massive shifts in your reality, and the things that you've been asking for, the things you've been manifesting are going to begin to come together a lot faster. So this is kind of the energy hack, is spirit of my divine feminine, educate my masculine on the truth of what would happen if I followed my intuition. So I invite you to use this. And if you're really ready to bring these two together, you're really ready to see that spiritual part of yourself, your intuitive part of yourself come together inside of the physical, make sure that you join us for the workshop that's coming up, where we're going to be assisting you in expanding into these energies of August. So I'm going to drop it below in the caption. Make sure that you like and subscribe, because we drop an Ascension chat every single week if you enjoy this. And I'm really excited to come back again next week. So I'm sending you guys so much love and light.